Are you in the market for top-notch digital equipment such as mills, scanners, or furnaces?
Wow, God, time is now. Ivoclar has introduced unbeatable rates exclusively for customers in North America.
Ivoclar has made it easy for you to invest in cutting-edge digital equipment with, ready for this, lower than prime interest rates.
I think that's no pun intended, but whether you're looking to upgrade your milling capabilities, enhance your scanning technology, or optimize your furnace performance, Ivoclar Digital has you covered.
To take advantage of this offer, the dedicated digital specialists at Ivoclar are ready to assist you. For details on how to get in touch, visit voicesfromthebench.com and select the Ivoclar tab to find all the information you need to get started. And as always, we appreciate your sponsorship of the podcast, Ivoclar. Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Greetings and welcome to episode 299 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
And my name is Barbara. 299!
Isn't that nuts? We are ending the 200s.
And we're ending it. Isn't this the last episode of the year, or is it almost the last episode?
No, we got one more.
Oh, damn.
We got one more.
So the 300 is going to be the last episode of the year.
Yeah.
That's cool.
On Christmas.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts to think we've been doing this for 299 straight weeks?
Well, if you were you and I, no. Because we've been doing it and so committed, and it's been a long time. I still absolutely love it. So yeah, I think it's awesome. Let's do another 200.
Oh, for sure. We're not running out of content.
We're booked until like end of February.
Yeah, we got a bunch of amazing people.
Yep.
We got some great shows coming up in 2024 that we hope to capture some more great people. I'm just really looking forward to next year.
Me too. I'm just so I don't know. Life is good. It's so good. The podcast has been amazing. You and I get along pretty darn well. We have great guests, great content. So let's keep going.
You mentioned life's pretty good, but we're about to get that last week before Christmas.
Dude.
I mean,
I'm in it. Excuse me. You can bleep me out, but I think I told you Friday. I'm like, I literally go in, sit down, and don't get up because I'm so busy, which is good. I'm happily busy and I'm doing really beautiful work, but wow, it's busy. I told you I hate this time of year because it's so effing busy. But
how many hours are you at the lab a day? Are you
a lot?
Yeah, is it
10?
kind of 10?
No, it's not anything too crazy. I think most dental technicians work more than 8-hour days.
Oh, for sure.
We're usually there 8 to 10, 10 to 12, weekends, you name it. So it's about normal. I thought I might have to go in tomorrow, which is our Sunday as we're recording this Saturday, but I just dug in and focused and got everything I needed to get done. So I try not to go in on the weekends, but if I need to, I will.
Yeah, of course you will. Is the lab open between Christmas and New Year? Are you going in? You taking any time off or anything?
No.
No.
But I'm thinking if we slow down, I'd like to kill a week in January. I had 4 weeks vacation and I have 10 of them left. So 2 weeks. So
I have a bunch of time left over too.
Thinking about Barbara a little bit and take some time off.
There you
I think it's important. We work hard, we drive hard, we do everything at the 120% or 200 if you're some of us.
Yeah.
But you don't have that balance.
I'm actually taking the week off between Christmas and New Year, which only ends up being 3 days.
You.
Yeah.
You're such a ball booster, so that means we're not recording?
Oh, no, we're recording.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Derby time off is happening. Podcast time off never happens. 299 weeks, Bar. Come on.
Okay. All right. I knew it. I had a feeling, but I wanted to ask.
But the problem is I'm not in a lab. I'm out and about, chair side. Time off is not truly time off. I mean, I'm not going to let all my accounts know I'm not working, so I'll be answering texts. Probably do a chair side or two that week just to help out. I mean, it's just who I am. It's not a huge deal. It's not like I'm going anywhere, but...
Well, you know what? I think that's amazing.
We do it because we love it.
Yeah, I know. So let's talk about the podcast, shall we?
So we always talk a lot about LMT Lab Day Chicago. This time of the year, we're gearing up. We're coming down to the,
Oh, you even had a little Taylor Swift just now. I'm impressed.
Does Taylor Swift do that?
Yeah.
Well, she got it from me. I'm older.
I'll write your name. And I'll write your name. Come on. All right.
I have no idea what you're talking
about. I
about.
had a moment there. I am a Swiftie. All right, go.
I understand. So we talk a lot about LMT Lab Day Chicago because, of course, we are recording all weekend at the Ivoclar Grand Ballroom.
I hear a yay.
Yes.
That was the best last year. So good.
It's going to be so amazing this year. But that same week is the Cal Lab meeting.
Oh, yeah.
That, Barb, you're like high up on the board for that too, because you have all this free time. What are you, the chair-elect or something?
Yeah, but you know what? We moved the Cal Lab meeting to the Swiss Hotel, which is right next to the Hyatt. And Cal Lab meeting's like the oldest, or I believe it is. We're going to be almost 100 years old.
That's nuts.
And it's just it's a management meeting. It's a business meeting. It's a networking meeting. I cannot say enough about it. My dad introduced it to me when I was in my 20s, and I've just always really loved it, loved the people. So if you guys don't know about Cal Lab, you got to look it up and check it out because it's right next to the Hyatt. We finally moved closer. It's really been tough for me every year to go back and forth, but yeah, it's a good meeting. Great meeting this year.
And I concur. I've been many, many times. So this event happens Thursday, the 22nd. And that morning of that Friday, the 21st, the same weekend as Lab Day.
Yes.
So you're already in Chicago for Lab Day. So this is kind of like a no-brainer.
Right.
But like you mentioned, it's kind of like a business management. You're not going to learn how to stain zirconia.
No, this year you're going to learn about AI and just key trends in dentistry and just the DSO panel. I think it's just kind of, bringing in some of that content that the business people really need. So yeah,
it's important. It's a huge part of the business. And my favorite part, the closed forums, when they kick out all the vendors and let the labs just not really but kind of discuss things that we want to do openly without any kind of like biased opinions in the room.
Yeah, and you're talking about 250, 300 lab owners, managers talking about things that are credible and meaningful to them. And we work a lot of things out. We talk about a lot of really important things. And I agree. That is probably one of the most, and it's always highly rated because people really love sharing in an environment where you don't have to worry. You just talk openly.
Yeah. I think we're hopefully encouraging a few people to head over to cal-lab.org. That's the Cal Lab website. And you can see the full lineup of the meeting and you can register, and it's just highly encouraged.
And you can see Elvis and I.
Sweet. So this week, Barb and I got to meet and talk to a gentleman behind the Institute of Digital Dentistry. All the way from New Zealand, Dr. Ahmad Al-Hassiny, which I'm sure I got wrong. Dr. Ahmad has two amazing parents that are dentists. So of course, he would eventually follow in the family career. He really wasn't introduced to digital until he started at his dad's practice. And he was at a study club event, and the maker of an iOS scanner was talking about how great their scanner was when he actually knew it really wasn't.
Yeah. It's not uncomfortable.
Yeah. He was tired of these companies giving biased CE events. So starting with a blog, he decided to review some of the scanners he had in his office. And it wasn't long before he was reviewing scanners at IDS. Then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And he got busy creating a top-notch online platform for dentists and technicians to learn in what he calls the Netflix of digital dentistry. So I've been exploring this site for a while now. Have you been checking it out, Barb?
Hell yes.
Yeah. And while much of it is geared towards dentists, there is a ton of good content for labs to learn to make them more valuable for clinicians. Dr. Ahmad also talks about some of the interesting trends he's seen in dentistry, where he sees the future of dentistry going, and why, even after all the advances of technology, dentists still need technicians. He won our hearts.
He did. He's a rock star, man.
So join us as we chat with Dr. Ahmad Al-Hassiny.
I think you did pretty good on the name there, Elvis.
Whether you're looking to elevate your craftsmanship or looking to cut back on cost, look no further.
VITA MFT teeth are the ultimate solution for creating lifelike and stunning smiles.
Crafted with precision and backed by cutting-edge technology, VITA MFT teeth offer unparalleled aesthetics and durability.
And since VITA believes in the power of experiencing excellence firsthand, for a limited time only, they are offering you the chance to get a complimentary case sample.
That's right, a full case absolutely free. Just visit vitanorthamerica.com/free MFT.
Don't wait any longer to start providing your customers a premium tooth at an economy price. Redeem your free case sample, and if you're ready to buy, VITA will even give you an extra 10% off discount by shopping online on their newly launched online store.
Join the VITA family today, and we appreciate your support of the podcast.
Hey, it's Candulor from Switzerland. Whether digital or analog, there are many ways to work in removable prosthetics, and you decide how you want to work at your bench. We provide you the materials to do so. With our new X molds of the PhysioSet TCR tooth line, you can cover a large part of your daily work. Whether complete dentures, partial dentures, or hybrid prosthetics, there is always a solution. Our Swiss School of Prosthetics in Springfield, Missouri will be happy to teach you a few more things you learn for life, right? You'll be supported and supplied by our authorized dealer, Edmunds Dental Supply. Check out our website, candulor.com. Candulor, high-end only.
Voices from the Bench. The interview. We are super excited today to bring to us a gentleman coming to us from the future of New Zealand, Dr. Ahmad Al-Hassiny. Al-Hassiny.
Al-Hassiny.
Al-Hassiny.
Good try. You almost got it.
I tried to warn you.
Say your name, sir, so everyone gets to hear it at least right once.
Hey guys, it's Dr. Ahmad Al-Hassiny from New Zealand.
I love it. So let me give the listeners a background how I found out about you. Following you on social media, shocker.
Mm-hmm.
And you reached out to me and you said, hey, we got this exocad training. Would you like to try it? And I'm like, well, let's see. I've never really used exocad. I don't have exocad. What the heck? I'll give it a shot. Holy moly, it was amazing.
Oh, thanks, man.
It is so cool what you've put together. And then I started diving in more what iDD is. And we're going to get into all that because there's so much that it seems like you guys just cover every aspect of digital dentistry in New Zealand.
Yeah, pretty heavily involved. I'm sure we'll get into backgrounds and everything, but I mean, Dad he's a dentist and he got a scanner about, I think, close to 15 years ago now. So we've been involved in it for a while.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're the son of a dentist. So let's talk about that. What was that like, and what made you decide I want to do what
what
Dad
was
does?
that like?
Yeah, well, honestly, it's quite funny. Like my dad is he's a pretty chill guy. Like we're like best buds more than anything. So
Isn't everybody in New Zealand really chill?
yeah, we're super chill, man. Like New Zealand compared to the rest of the world is a village, to be honest. Like, you know, and you only realize that when you start traveling to bigger cities. You're like, wow, we are chill in this country.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's just quite funny because my mum is also a dentist. So I actually come from a family of dentists. Yeah. So it must be in the genes or something.
Of course.
Yeah, look, just classic sort of. I had a really normal upbringing, I'd like to say. Just went through high school, and then you kind of, you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so you're kind of rubbing shoulders with your dad and your mum, and they were all pretty chill about it. They weren't really serious about me getting into dentistry, I got into uni and did our first year undergraduate degree, which is normal in New Zealand, and then you apply for all the different kind of medical specialties, pharmacy, medicine, and I got actually into medicine and dentistry. And so, honestly, that was probably the big turning point in my life, I have to say, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, as a young kid, you don't really know much about much. You have these big dreams, and most dentists are like a type A personality. So you're thinking I want to be a heart surgeon. And my mum was pretty much like, she was the one that was like, yeah, you really should just do dentistry. And
oh, mom, always crushing dream.
Yeah, I'm a Middle Eastern background, so quite a traditional mum and dad. You know, it's not like, oh, you can do whatever you like to me. It was more like, yeah, you're doing dentistry, son.
Nice.
We hear that quite often. So, like, growing up with two parents that were both dentists, did you go every now and again with them, or like, did they talk about their day? Were you ever just like kind of interested in it, or
honestly, not like significantly? Like, of course, I would go, and my mum did my filling, shock and horror. I don't want this whole podcast to turn about my history, but it's quite funny. My parents were chill. Like, they let us eat sweets, they let us eat lollies, and it's kind of strange now that I look back at it. I'm like, didn't you guys think we shouldn't be eating this stuff? But anyway, different times. So look, I didn't do like a lot of summer school with them or like, you know, summer programs. I think it just rubs off on you, you know? You like,
for sure.
My dad's like my biggest role model, and you see what he's doing, and he loves it. He's a guy he loves dentistry, probably more than me. He's happiest in the clinic. He's one of those guys. So yeah. And I graduated about 8 years ago, and honestly, I would have said with university, that would have been that decision was about 15 years ago. So easily the best decision I made, probably.
That's awesome. When you graduated, did you go work for your parents?
I actually, another great story. I applied for hospital jobs.
That's a big thing over there, isn't it? We've had other people mention this.
Huge. We all apply for hospital jobs. I don't know if it's FOMO or what it is, but I applied for a hospital job because, again, type A personality. I want to be the best, you know, that sort of, young guy attitude. Let's be a Max Fact. That sounds like a good idea. And I applied for all the hospital jobs, and I didn't get into any of them. So
I got a quick question. So when you apply for that, like, how do you get in or not get in?
I don't want to get too political, but I honestly think it's kind of like a lot of specialities. I think in universities around the world, it's not just about, you know, you're a good student. It's also, you know, who you know, do they like you, your interview process, etc. And look, for better or worse, I mean, I didn't get into any hospital jobs, which again was probably the second best thing that happened to me, because I'd still probably be in the hospitals right now. Because I'm one of those guys who just, you know, keeps at it until something works. You know, like, I'll keep hitting my head against the wall in a hospital until I achieve what I wanted. But no, I didn't get a hospital job, so I with my tail between my legs, I asked my dad for a job, which is extremely fortunate. I know it's like, and it's more fortunate my dad's actually a really good dentist. Like, you know, you could have ended up with a job that's suboptimal.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
But my dad is an amazing dentist, huge role model. Like, he was into scanning, one of the first in the country, and he's into implants, and he's into aligners. He's kind of like this super GDP. He does it all. And so having that as your father, and again, I really give my career everything. So I just worked like pretty much 6 to 7 days a week. It's a bit crazy for the first few years, just to get your grips of things. And I used to do weekends and late nights just to really try learn as much as I can as fast as possible. And yeah, I mean, the rest is history. I worked along him, and he mentored me, and he taught me pretty much everything, you know. And you know, you're not going to get a better mentor than your father, really.
Oh, heck yeah. My father was my mentor, so I understand.
So after your work in there, obviously he introduced you to digital dentistry, or was it big in the school?
No. We didn't have any scanners at all at the school. Most schools, I'm sure you're aware, around the world, probably only in the last 3 to 4 years really got scanners in the schools, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, before then, no way. We were still doing amalgam fillings and stuff, so definitely no digital. But yeah, look, got out. Dad was doing digital. He was actually using an E4D system at the time,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was, compared to what we have now, is just a far cry.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's kind of like monkey see, monkey do, right? Like you watch your dad, he's like, what's he doing? And I'm also fortunate. I'm kind of the generation that grew up with tech. I mean, I didn't have any smartphones in high school, but in university, pretty much everyone did, and so pretty familiar with technology and just got into it. It seemed like at the time the right thing to do and the way forward. And now we know, hindsight's 2020. Now we know, well, everyone's going digital.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So was your mom practicing at the same time in the same practice?
That's a great question, Bob. No, they tried to work together in the same practice.
And they said, hell no, we're either going to stay married.
They were like, it's like the saying, you can't have your boss at home or something,
Agree.
So, no, they work in separate practices. I work alongside my father purely because he just has a bigger practice, He's, I guess Mum dedicated a lot of her life to us and her family and everything. So she was never the hardcore entrepreneurial type who's trying to open many practices and stuff. I mean, hats off to the ladies that do that, honestly, because with 2 kids and raising them, it's hard work.
Heck yeah. Well, cool. So she's still practicing. So you're working with your dad, and then you guys just clicked and got along and just totally jammed?
Pretty much. Yep, that's it. And I guess the next question is, how did iDD start?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to find out when it pivots here.
And I'll show you how it pivots. It's actually quite wild. I remember it like it was yesterday. I know that's a funny saying, and it's probably a bit cliche. Everyone uses it. But genuinely, I mean, so we got the E4D, and we realized there was serious issues with this machine, But we only got it because it was cheaper than CEREC, like many doctors at the time. And then the Trios came out around 2016, I believe, 17. And so we got a Trios scanner, and then with a Roland mill. And that wasn't really the best chairside system, frankly, but it was an amazing scanner. So then we got the CEREC. So then it was purely getting more technology, not because we wanted to flex on Instagram. I mean, flexing on Instagram wasn't even a big deal back then. But it was more that we were running into potholes in our workflow. And we were like, how do we solve this? Like, there's got to be better technology to do this. And so by that point, and this is around 2017, we realized, hey, we have like 3 scanners here. And we know the pros and cons of all of them because I use all of them. Mm-hmm. And what really got me to start iDD, frankly, it was no future sight into trying to run an education company or anything like that. All I wanted to do was purely give objective information. And why I wanted to do that is, how you guys have like study clubs and that sort of stuff. I'm sure you guys. Yeah. We have them as well. So we have study clubs, and I sat into a study club in New Zealand, and there was about 50, 60 dentists there.
That's a big club.
Yeah, it was decent. I mean, the only one in the city, so it was decent. And the topic was digital, and this was around 2017. They were starting to say, hey, guys, we probably need to start getting into it. And, of course, back then, it was all kind of sponsored talks.
Yeah.
So the speaker that came up, lo and behold, what does he rock up with? A 3M scanner, which we know is like, discontinued now because it didn't do so well. I mean, it was okay for the time, but it was a pretty average scanner,
What was it? True Definition or something?
True Definition, that's the one I was. And you had to like spray it with powder and all this stuff. And the thing that got me to start iDD, genuinely, and I'll never forget this moment, is he went up there and he was saying that this is the best scanner. It beats all the other scanners. Classic sales pitch. Yeah. And everyone was eating it up. Everyone was eating it up. Like they fully believed him. And I was just sitting there because I've used all these other scanners and I had tried the 3M. And I was just like, it just really didn't sit right with me for some reason. I was just like, there's got to be a more objective way of clinicians or even me getting information about this technology. I mean,
whether it's good, whether it's bad, mediocre,
exactly.
this guy's just basically up there saying it's amazing and you know a heck of a lot better.
Exactly. And when we used to talk to sales reps ourselves, you talk to the CEREC guy, he's like, oh, my scan is the best, the other one sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to the Trios guy, my scan is the best, the other one sucks. I mean, things have settled down now because I think people realize there's objective information out there, and so sales reps are not so hard on the nose. But back then, that kind of just triggered me. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do anything fancy. All I'm going to do is write a blog. I mean, iDD quite hilariously started as just me making a random name. I mean, it seemed like a good idea to put digital dentistry in the name. And so it was the Institute of Digital Dentistry. I thought, oh, that's a good name. And then I just wrote a blog, and it was one of our first scanner reviews back in, I think, 17. And I just frankly just said, I use all these scanners. This is the pros and cons. It was super basic. It was a one-man show. And all I was trying to do was say the pros and cons of scanners. And that's kind of how it really started. And from there in the background, I was still trying to learn dentistry while, I love digital more so now than ever. And in the background, it was slowly growing. But then in 2019, IDS, I think that's when iDD really took off. I wrote a review. I just walked around IDS in 2019 in Germany, the conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just walked around. There was about 10 scanners there, and I tried all of them. I had these little models with me, and I tried all of them, and I just gave them ratings. And I tried to make it as objective as possible because no one paid for this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really made it take off. That's when I think that review was viewed over 500,000 times and shared over 4,000 times. So that's when we really started, getting a bit of a presence globally, let's say. And now looking back, our mailing database is close to 50,000 dentists with an open rate of around 40%. So they're pretty engaged dentists. They're keen for the knowledge. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I look at our Google Analytics, and we've got literally users and viewers from all around the world, every corner of the globe, pretty much.
That's
every
awesome.
continent. Yeah, it's nice to look back. You don't really, when you're in the trenches and you're just doing, you don't really know where it's going to go. You're just doing for the sake of it.
Please tell me your first blog was the true definition and you trashed it.
Even back then, and still now, I only write blogs about products I've genuinely tested. So we didn't even buy the true definition because of how cruddy it was.
Yeah.
And so I didn't write anything about it. But yeah, that's kind of the story. And now we do courses around Australia and New Zealand. I mean, my biggest Achilles heel is being in New Zealand. It's so damn geographically isolated.
It's pretty far away.
It is. I wish I was vibing with you guys in the US, but that's all right. Otherwise, I mean, and because we have this huge audience globally, and most are not going to travel to New Zealand for a course, we kicked up an online platform, and that was just a pivot to get to these people that want courses from us. So, and just education. I mean, courses, I feel like kind of a dirty word. People just want education. They just want to learn. They just want someone to teach them how to, do a splint or design this crown. That's what really people are searching for.
So are you doing your own designs?
Yeah, I was pretty much since I graduated. So on the E4D, I was doing my own designs, and then we used the Trios design studio at the time when we got the 3Shape, and I was doing my own designs. You get to a point where you get so busy and you're kind of overdoing it after hours that you just need to get people. Yeah. And frankly, and I'll say it openly, because I believe, Elvis, you're a technician, aren't you?
Yeah, and so is Barb, and so is our whole audience, just to give you a warning.
I know. It's like, watch your mouth. But like, look, a lot of people think I have a vendetta against technicians. I really don't. And frankly, it's not until you work with one you realize, man, these guys really know what they're doing. I mean, as a dentist, you can get by, I believe, for most basic indications, a single crown. But once you really start to work with technicians, it's just a whole different game. And I believe genuinely, like, especially bigger practices out there, etc., they just need to employ a technician to work in-house. I mean, it's a great thing to have a technician on your doorstep and you guys discuss cases together. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. We talk about it on this podcast all the time. We know a lot of technicians are starting to work in office, and I think it's a great thing if you can find a good doctor, you know?
Yeah.
It's like full circle, right? Because technicians used to be in office, used to have a little stone lab at the back and work with a clinic, and now it's like full circle again. I think digital will definitely push that forward because, a good digital technician, they're just incredible. It's such a huge asset for the clinic, for you, for the relationship together, you guys, and also the direct feedback. If something's didn't come out right, you just talk to them directly. They can come into the room, check shades, which they're way better at dentists doing on average. So
yeah.
So but it sounds to me like you were kind of playing that role. If you were designing, you guys also had a mill and an oven and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, like we with the E4D system, we always had a mill and an oven, and then we bought a Ceramil Motion 2, which is the Ahmad system, and now we have an Ivoclar PM7. So we have like a full digital lab in house now.
I've got a PM7. They're the best.
Oh, they're amazing, eh? What a machine. They're actually amazing. So yeah, we grew from doing it ourselves to realizing, look, there's a better way to getting one technician. And now we have 3 technicians in house, but we also grew the business. Like we also started as a 3-4 chair practice, me and my dad, and now it's a 39 chair practice across a couple of sites.
Oh my God.
39?
Yeah, 39 chairs.
Wow. So you're not bored at all.
No. Or you probably should ask, you need better hobbies.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Sincerely. Like that's a huge practice.
I appreciate it. I mean, it's across 4 or 5 sites, but yeah, no, we love dentistry. I don't know. I genuinely look at my dad and it's like, should we pick up golf or something? Or, like, should we do something else? I mean, you get to a point, it's not even about the money anymore, to be honest. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's an obsession.
Yeah, you said you worked, when you very first started, you worked from, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., but there's no way you have normal hours now.
I have cut back quite a lot because what I've realized, and the running the practice side, my dad really loves. I honestly, whether it's a practice or a lab, again, I tip my head off to you guys. It's not an easy gig, especially with staff.
Yeah.
So my real passion, genuinely, is the education side. I love that stuff. I really love, and it takes me back to even in the uni days. I used to do tutoring for students trying to get into dentistry and medicine, and I don't know why. That's really what's driven me over the past 3-4 years. So I've put a lot of my effort and time into growing iDD while still working as a full-time dentist somehow. Again, need hobbies, but I work 4 days a week as a dentist. But I feel like, I still have the energy, and to really educate, I think you need to have your hands dirty. I don't want to ever be that guy who's talking about workflows but doesn't actually do them.
Yeah. Well, I think with the audience that you've been able to create with everything that you're doing, it's obvious that you're a teacher and that you enjoy it because people are listening and taking what you have to say to heart. I mean, would you say you're in how many countries and, how many viewers? I mean, it's huge.
I think what really made people gravitate to our scanner reviews, etc., is purely just the objective nature of it. I think even to this day, it's quite hard to get objective information, and it's hard to cut through the BS basically of what's a sales pitch and what's actual. This is good. This is bad.
Totally agree with that. Even magazines that supposedly rate them on that same page has an ad for one of those scanners, and you start to wonder. You're like,
I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I really think most of it is bought advertising, but in saying that, look, there's also a lot of good players out there, good guys out there who are using the tools and who are trying to educate and provide information. But yeah, look, that's the main reason why people listen. I think we just established ourselves as these guys are real, these guys are not just some another company who, whatever, a scanner company paid them 100K or 50K or whatever, and they're just raving about it, which it's quite funny. I've never been offered that, but the number of times I've been offered to distribute equipment
Oh, I
is
bet.
insane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I've sold more medits than anyone on the globe, to be honest, just because of our reviews and just saying how good it was at the time when no one even considered a medit. Yeah, I always get asked, you should distribute medit, you're leaving money on the table, but I've stayed true to the fact that I don't want to distribute any equipment because you can't be objective and have a financial gain.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. So I want to know how you go from writing a blog to what this is now. I mean, hours and hours of video and multiple instructors all over the world. I mean, why did you scale it so much?
Yeah, the funny thing is, a little thing called COVID, good old COVID-19,
Ah,
eh?
yes.
Yeah, like I always had a vision of running iDD kind of like this, and it's not quite the full vision yet, but it's getting there. I'm proud of what we've built. But before it was just blogs and it was just reviews, a lot of reviews. I mean, people, kept coming to the reviews and I really didn't have anything to offer. It was just like free information. And we built our emailing list and we built the brand, which was good. And I'd run courses live in Australia, New Zealand, but again, facing the same issues that, frankly, 40% of our audience is in the US. It's not even in Australia, New Zealand. Yeah. 40 to 50% of all our traffic's from the US. You guys rock, man. You guys drive the digital industry more than anyone.
We love our internet over here.
Yeah, we do.
Technology, and you guys are a real, forward-thinking bunch of people. I mean, in New Zealand, I read a survey, and in America, they reckon about 40 to 50% of clinics have a scanner now. And in New Zealand, I would say it's closer to 10 to 15%, but it's getting there. So
No kidding. Wow.
yeah, I think we're just a more conservative group of people, maybe less competition. I think competition drives a lot of digitization, frankly.
Yeah.
You guys are definitely spearheading the whole industry.
Well, there's
which is
also
cool.
dentists every 30 feet here in a lot of areas.
I think that pushes it, to be honest. I really think competition makes you invest into your business, try different stuff, and you get to a point when everyone has a scanner around you, patients start almost expecting it,
Yeah, for sure.
Patients still ask for white fillings these days because they don't want silver ones, and slowly that's going to be completely the norm. So I think that's really what's driving it. And how I went from just writing blogs to iDD was, or the online platform, let's say, is that I would do live courses in Australia and New Zealand. But again, when about 30 to 40 to 50% of your audience is in the States, not many people are going to travel to New Zealand. I mean, it's a nice place. I love New Zealand, but it's also like a 13-hour flight. And for a 2-day course, that's brutal.
It's a hard haul. Yeah.
That's a hard haul. So COVID came around in all its glory, and everyone got told to sit on their butts for 3 months. Yeah, I mean, I just
And
again,
you did it.
I didn't. I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I should have just sat down. I gained a lot of weight. I kept eating pizza and bread for some reason. I don't know. A carb freaking feast.
Hell yeah. I know.
Stress eating, it's okay. Yeah.
Stress eating. Yeah. I mean, it is a bit of stress, the unknown. And it's funny, we look back now and it's like, God, what a waste of time that was. But anyway.
So wait, so what did you do? So did you create videos the whole time, or like what? Because obviously you reached a large group of folks. So what were you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get this online platform up. I knew the tools I needed. I mean, I could see what other people were using. There's Thinkific and there's other platforms, Teachable, etc. So I just needed the time to sit down, make PowerPoint slides, make a curriculum. And before I could reach out to other educators, you need to have a product. You can't just be like, hey, other educators, come make me a course for this platform and I have nothing. I'm just leveraging you.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. So I sat there in COVID day in, day out. My dad thinks genuinely I'm nuts. He was like, Jesus, like...
You may be.
Yeah, I may be. But yeah, I sat there and I just made a curriculum, kind of like the stuff I used to teach in my live courses. But now I just had the time to do like an online lecture. And so I made as much content as I humanly could in that time. And I used to show people, like with a video camera, how to glaze properly, how to stain properly. I mean, probably not as good as some of the technicians out there, but a step up for the average dentist. I mean, I'm
Sure.
quite
Yeah, and
proud.
they need that. I love the fact that you did that. So you're actually a technician also, because if you're staining and you're, contouring and stuff and designing, you definitely have that craziness to you, that skill to you.
I genuinely think I love Elvis laughing in the background. He's like, great. Now his adjective is craziness. Um,
Oh yeah, we are a little.
I genuinely think any modern digital dentist worth their salt needs a little bit of techie skills. I genuinely
Mhm.
think. I think the days of just drilling and filling, man, they're numbered. These days with all the software and all the AI, and you need to know what you're doing. You need to tap into this tech and what it can do for you, both practice and labs. But that was basically it. I sat in COVID and I did a whole bunch of videos, and that was about 2-3 years ago now. When was COVID? I can't even remember.
Yeah. But what did you do? Just like how to use a scanner?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, just it was
Exactly,
just
man.
all
Like,
tech.
I mean, like, it was clinical tips mainly. I didn't want to get into hardware and tech because dentists don't vibe on that stuff. We want clinical tips.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was basically how to scan, how to do tooth preparations properly, not for digital, just properly, because you guys know, you guys see all the work. Most dentists' tooth preps are like okay at
They're
best.
absolutely awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a dentist. You know what's funny? When I do my life courses, I stand up in front of dentists and I tell them, look, your preps are shitty. You guys need to improve. And they love it. They eat it up. I don't know. Maybe when it comes from a dentist, it hits differently. But
It takes them back
yeah,
to their college days.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
When the instructor was
Yep.
telling them how bad they were.
'Cause this is a unique thing, right? Like, because I'm a practicing dentist, but I kind of own me and my dad run a big chain of practices. So I see new grads, their issues they have with technology.
Yeah.
I see older grads, their issues they have with technology. We have a lab, so I see the lab's issues with technology, and I see all the work that comes into the lab from other dentists. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
your other dentists that send us work. So I was trying to just solve all those things and just give people some lectures on that. And honestly, when it first started, it was not super advanced. Like, I did maybe 6-7 hours of content, but it got us at least you had something. The start is always the hardest thing.
Yeah.
And then from there I just reached out to a bunch of dentists, good technicians, just educators that you find, and I'd love to get you guys on if you're into that education
Oh,
stuff.
heck yeah.
uh,
Love it.
and then you just make lectures, and it's like kind of Netflix of digital dentistry. You just keep building the library, and now we've taken kind of a different approach. We're still building the library of courses, but we also want to create like custom courses for a specific issue, like the Exocad course, Elvis, you were talking about.
Yeah.
That was purely because a lot of people want to learn Exocad, technicians and dentists. And so it was purely, this is an Exocad course, A to Z. I have a hilarious story about, because I think I don't know if you've already done the podcast with Marjorie or
No, it's coming up, and I'm really intimidated because she's been like my teacher, and her voice to me
funny?
will.
She's super intimidated too. She's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Look, just take it easy, just have the convo." But you guys will do great. What's funny is that this is the power of social media, right? And again, a cliche thing. I
Yeah.
personally hate social media for one reason. If I showed you my screen time, you'd probably vomit a little bit in your mouth.
Don't want to talk about it, dude.
Yeah, man. It's like it's a real hate-love relationship. I was late on the ball game on Instagram and posting and flexing and
Me
whatnot.
too.
I only started like 2-3 years ago. And what's really curious, A, it's free advertising, whether you're a clinic or a lab, but B, it's funny how people do business these days. It really opened up my mind. So to those listening, sorry, the Exocad course that Elvis was talking about, the teacher on there is a lady called Marjorie. She's an incredible technician, like crazy skills. I mean, Elvis, you could probably vouch for that, I guess.
If Elvis learned, trust me, she's good.
Yeah. You know what's hilarious? How we got this technician, because she works with us now. So she hit me up on Instagram as a DM.
Wow.
Purely, she didn't know about iDD. She didn't know about me, who I am. She just hit me up because she saw I was posting about scanners. And she was like, "Hey, I'm a freelancer designer. If you ever want to send me some work, here's my email.
So she was one of those where they were just like hitting people up looking for designs.
Good for her.
Total hustler, man.
That's
I have so
awesome.
much respect for that lady in Brazil doing this, just hitting people up, trying to make a living. And it's funny, A, it shows you how cool digital is that we can do that stuff. But B,
Oh yeah.
I looked at her Instagram and I was like shocked. I was like, man, this looks good. And so as just like a passing comment, literally like a 2-second comment, no big convo, no nothing. I was just like, look, we already have our lab, we run iDD, all this stuff. But if you ever want a job, come work with us, smile emoji. And that was it. And then
Wow.
she messages me a few months later and she's like, yeah, I'm keen. Imagine that. And then
She said, "Hell yeah."
she was like, hell yeah. And she moved all the way from Brazil to New Zealand. We sponsored her
God.
and everything and blah, blah, blah. And now she's a full-time technician in our lab. And yeah, let me tell you, man, she does my cosmetic cases.
That takes balls. That is crazy. You're
Yeah, hats
kidding
off
me.
to her, man. And
Wow.
after I saw her work, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, even it's funny, even our main lab guy, we have a lab manager to run and operate the show
Sure.
because the lab's getting a bit big now.
Obviously, with 39 rooms.
Yeah, and
Wow.
also we accept work from outside, but our lab manager was like, when she came, she made the rest of us look like gorillas. Like, she's so good.
You make us look
Oh,
bad.
wow.
Yeah, exactly. And so she's amazing, man. And I told her, look, you have crazy skills. There's a huge demand for the Exocad training. Let's work together. Let's smash this out. We spent like 300 hours in total, like editing and recording. And it's funny, 300 hours of manpower turns out to be like 8-9 hours of content. But we didn't want it to be. I don't really do anything in halves, right? You probably could tell. And we never wanted it to be like another crappy Exocad video. We wanted
Yeah,
it to
you
be,
were all in.
we wanted to be a full curriculum. Like you could give this to someone and they would be at least mildly, if not really confident with Exocad.
And that's what I got out of it. I mean, it started at the very beginning.
Yep. Yep.
I'm pleased to hear, man.
I want to see the blooper reel. I want
Yeah.
to
Yeah, we should get that. Yeah, that's hilarious. But no, that was the whole kind of journey of all of this.
But Marjorie is just one of the instructors. I mean, just to name some people that even Barb and I know here in the States that we've had on the podcast. Michael Shearer, the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he's
amazing.
been on. Who else did I see on here? Eric Kukuka. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
Dr.
Another top guy.
August Dioloria and Hussam Sharil. I mean, I had no idea these people were instructors for you.
I feel like the digital dentistry space is quite a niche, so we kind of all know each other. Like I was secretly stalking you guys. I saw your podcast. I was like, these guys are hilarious. I love your memes on Instagram. It's hilarious. And so I think we all kind of at least know of each other.
Yeah.
Especially the ones who are speaking and doing the social media thing. Like it's a pretty small group, to be honest. I mean, dentistry is
Yeah.
already a small group, and now it's like a niche on a niche on a niche. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think we all kind of know each other, and we all kind of have a mutual respect for each other. Like when I was doing my thing and I hit up Michael, he's a super nice guy. He was like, yeah, man, I'm happy to support you guys. I love what you do. And he did a lecture for us. Obviously, for his time, you pay him for his time, because I don't want anyone doing stuff for free. That's just not how the world works. But the fact that they're keen to support, it means a lot. And it does help you a lot. You never forget the people that came to support you when you kind of, I don't want to turn it into a mopey story and say had nothing, because it's not like that. But
Yeah.
they supported you when you didn't really have a platform. They
Yeah.
just did it for the sake of doing. And now more so these days, it's like getting contacted by companies and universities. And
So all these instructors, when you reached out to them, you basically had them do a recorded webinar.
basically, yeah, that's all it is, man. Some of them are better than others. They're very slick with their production, and others it's a recorded webinar. But at the end of the day, I pretty much watch every single one. Like we have about 10 staff just on iDD and they're all dental or ex-dental or dental assistants or technicians. And their job is pretty much to watch all the content, transcribe it, make quizzes for CPD numbers and etc. And I watch all the content to make sure, it's got to be a certain level. I don't want this to be like a YouTube platform. It has to
Good
be.
for you.
Yeah, I don't.
Smart.
Otherwise, there's no point. You're just the same as YouTube. I mean, there's a lot of content on YouTube, but the issue with YouTube, I find, it's all fragmented. It's hard to actually get a learning curriculum.
It doesn't work. The YouTube.
You can get bits and bobs.
Yeah, you'll see one good video, and 2 hours later you're watching videos of dogs driving tractors, and you're just
exactly.
I'm like, I didn't learn a thing.
And what did we do before the days of reels and shorts? Man, God, that has ruined my life.
How do you manage your time? Please help me. Like you're practicing 4 days a week, you said.
I'll just tell you, Bob, the best thing is that dentistry forces me to be away from my phone and a laptop, and I'm in patients' mouths. And I can't be like TikToking on the side, because honestly, like it's hard these days. I'll be honest, like managing my time, I just try to work as much as I can in a healthy manner, I would say. Like go to work, 9 to 6 these days, finish work, go to the gym, and then just relax. And that's 4 days a week. And then in the other 2 to 3 days, I'll be working on iDD stuff. But it's definitely slowed down a little bit. You get a bit older. I don't have any children yet. I want to start thinking about a family. So perspectives do shift a little bit. But yeah, I guess it's just like Al-Hassiny gene or something. I got it from my dad. Like he has no chill either. I'm like, Dad, when are you going to just slow down and retire or something? Like, why do you work at such a crazy pace all the time? And I feel like when you have that in front of you all the time, you kind of do as well, right? Like if your dad's grinding, it's kind of, you feel bad just sitting at home eating Cheetos or something. But not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know what I mean? Like you're watching your dad, he's 60, he gets up, goes to work every day. You probably feel like you should work too.
Yeah. I think the cool thing is that he probably got he's not that old, just to say, but I mean, you coming in probably completely revitalized everything that he was doing.
You're 100% right, Bob. Again, like you've got like incredible insights. You've asked a couple of things that are like right on the money. It's funny. It's another funny story, actually. Dad always had a 3-chair practice. And as an undergrad, I used to always ask him, Dad, like, why don't you expand? Again, just type A personality. Doesn't know anything about business, but just knows expansion good. And not always, but, just a dental student who, I don't know, wants to be something. So, and Dad was always like, no, we're never going to do that. And then it's funny. It's like I graduated, and then my brother graduated before me. And I think he gave us a few years just to see, like, what are these guys about? Are they good or not? And then after we were okay dentists, he's been on a rampage, man. He's like I say, we only really had 4 chairs, and now it's to 39 in the past 4 or 5 years. So it definitely gave him something. And I also think it's quite nice to work with your dad, and like I'm pushing iDD and the digital stuff, and it's all like win-win for everyone.
Yep.
Are you still teaching classes for iDD, or have you totally passed that off to this pool of educators you have?
No, man. I mean, to be honest, just in the past 12 months, I'm naked this year, to be honest. In the past 12 months,
naked? You're naked?
Naked. Sorry, you
got Barb excited there.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a New Zealand accent. Sorry, it's we're pretty lazy with our
What does that mean?
Naked is like exhausted. I should.
Okay.
I should use the Queen's English or whatever. Exhausted. Yeah, I'm totally exhausted. The past 12 months, I've done about 28 lectures and courses and conference talks and stuff. So I think I overdid it this year, and I think I'll definitely cut back a little next year. But no, I love it, man. Like I said at the start, I genuinely love it. And it's not just about, someone asked me recently at a course. I was at a Nexus iOS course, the Osteon scan gauge thingies.
Mm-hmm.
I was at their conference speaking, and someone asked me, like, why do you do this? We know you run the practices, we see your Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, it's just what I told them. It's just about meeting people like you. Like, I love the networking and connecting, and it's like a deep satisfaction knowing that you helped another clinician do better dentistry or learn a new workflow. So I still teach, I still do the online stuff.
But you also do your presentations live at like conventions and things happening around New Zealand, right?
Most not really New Zealand. I mean, New Zealand is not really the hotbed of digital dentistry conventions. I travel quite a bit, so I get invited quite a bit by companies. So I was in IDS in Germany, and then I did a little road trip around all the digital companies in Europe, like Dentsply and 3Shape. They're all in Europe, the lucky bastards.
Yeah.
Everyone's
All
in
the
Europe.
badasses.
Everyone's in Europe. And then
Yep.
there was a digital dentistry symposium in Mumbai. I was there, and I go to
Wow.
Australia. Australia is like my second home. I keep going there because they also are much more digitized than New Zealand, and so they have a lot of conferences and shows. And
it's not as far away as the US, I'm
yeah,
sure.
but guess what? That's like the closest thing to New Zealand, and it's a 3-hour flight.
Yeah, not bad at all, right?
Not bad, not bad. But still, it's like I have to start thinking like even the story of how we ended up in New Zealand is interesting. It's like my dad is Iraqi, so and my mom's Iraqi.
What is
And we
that?
met in you don't know? Oh, Iraq.
Oh,
I
Iraq.
only think of Rocky.
Yeah, sorry. Iraq. Yeah, okay, sorry.
No worries.
I was like, the Rocky Mountains? What?
Yeah, no, I have to do the proper American accent on Iraq, but Iraq.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm blundering my way through this podcast.
You're doing fine.
You're actually very funny because it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like bringing like funny content. Because I'm like, what the hell did he just say?
It's hilarious. Hey, this is the blooper reel, but yeah. So Iraqi, whatever. So
Yeah.
we moved in '93. So Dad was actually in 3 wars.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in 3 wars, and classic immigrant story, skilled worker immigrant. Where we left Iraq in '93, and it was basically whichever country would give you a working visa. And it happened to be New Zealand at the time, and I don't even think my dad knew where New Zealand was. I think he thought it was in Europe or something. And then we fly all the way over to New Zealand, and it's like, wow, okay, so this is where we're gonna stay. And mind you, in saying that, seriously, beautiful country, amazing people. They're like some of the nicest people on earth, New Zealanders.
But
Yeah.
you could have landed anywhere. Like I did not
Yeah,
know that.
I guess anywhere with an asterisk, right? Because at the time, not many people just handed out visas to
Right.
Iraqis. And it's quite curious. It's like I always tell my dad, again, huge role model for me. I always tell him, man, you should write a book or something. Like your grandchildren. My brother has 3 kids. They have no idea. They just don't know
What the hell they went through, right?
Yeah, and like my dad, after 3 wars, not like they're like proper Middle Eastern wars, you know. And when he came to New Zealand, we didn't come from, and this is tongue in cheek, guys.
Yeah.
We didn't come from oil money or anything, you know. We're not like some royal family's kids or something. And otherwise, I'd be on a yacht or something. not
Sure.
on a
Yeah,
first
you
class.
dug it up. Like,
You know,
guys-
I'd be in like yeah, I'd be in a yacht. But so when we came to New Zealand, it was literally, I don't know how that generation did this stuff. I couldn't. It's like starting from zero, have to learn English. I mean, my dad knew English in Iraq, but it's not like English, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
and like having 2 kids and your degree isn't recognized. You have to sit exams. Much like, you know, you hear these stories all the time from American taxi drivers, basically.
Yeah.
And for 5 years, he was like a pizza delivery guy and a supermarket.
Your
shelf-
dad's a badass.
yeah,
That is
man.
so
Yeah, it's like
respectful.
unbelievable. Like it's a
God.
different breed, that generation, honestly.
Yeah.
And here you are just running a website.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. And here I am trying to like fill the big shoes that he's left. But
Look, Dad, I wrote a
Yeah.
blog. You know?
exactly. And he's like, yeah, the soft
But
son.
that's so great because that's exactly what he wanted for you, and freaking that's why you got the hell out of there and
Yeah, exactly.
moved so far away so that you can have a better life.
100%. Super fortunate, and I guess exactly like why most people move to America and stuff, just searching for a better
Yeah.
life. Yeah, it's nice to be able to work with him and support him and etc.
Has iDD brought you to America? Have you made it over here?
I wish, man. Next year, I want to come to the Chicago Midwinter for sure.
Nice.
Oh my God, really? You should. That is the
100%.
best and largest meeting. That's like IDS of America.
Yeah. I've
So
heard
great.
so many good things, and I really want to go. I've been to Boston just for like a couple of courses, but not through iDD or anything. But I definitely, again, man, the trick is just because you guys in America, you have amazing speakers. Like, you're spoiled for choice for really good educators, dental technicians, dentists, the whole 9 yards. And so, as amazing as iDD is, like, I like to think, still the travel for like a 2-3 day course, for most
It's
companies it
tough.
doesn't make sense. It's brutal.
Yeah.
But in the future, I'd love to come, man. I think it'd be nice to rub shoulders with a lot of you guys. A lot of you've inspired me in my career, to be honest, just through social media or what you guys are doing. So I'd love to say hi and meet a lot of you.
Yeah, we got to get you over.
You're inspiring me. Just it's remarkable. I would love to meet your dad as well, just to say, wow, good for you for having the balls to get your family out of there, and just so many things that you're doing and accomplishing. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Start from like literal scratch, but
Right.
it's crazy. Ebbs and flows of life, right? You look back and you're like, huh.
So, looking at all the courses that you provide, what's the popular ones? What are more people clicking on?
I would say it depends, technicians or dentists.
Sure.
I would say dentists. I'm just curious about dentists.
Dentists at the moment, they love two things: scanning and 3D printing. They love it.
Yeah.
Why do you think 3D printing?
They eat it up. And even in my life courses, 3D printing is way more popular than any tech work and for the dentists. And I think the main reason is two things. Like, CEREC tried really, really hard, and they did an amazing job with in-house CAD/CAM, but they still only really penetrated about 10 to 15% of the market. It wasn't massive, and we're talking about like the all scanner user market. And I think the main reason is that most dentists, frankly, they don't want to play technician. They just don't want to. For whatever reason, they don't want to design. They feel it's really intimidating.
Well, we don't want them to either.
Yeah, exactly. So it's win-win. But a lot of dentists, I think also part of the reason why is that milling machines are quite expensive.
Oh, yeah.
You're starting at, 40, 50K US. Some cheaper ones are 35K. But the thing about printing is it starts as low as like a few $100 if you want to get the cheapy ones, which I do not recommend. But the decent dental ones, a few grand, and you've got a pretty good printer.
Well, plus just the cost of running is less.
Way cheaper. It's pretty easy to run them. And also, I think it's like a no-brainer. Like, it's like how every clinic had a little stone room at the back.
Yeah. Doesn't take up as much room. It's not as loud.
Not just that. Some doctors and dentists, they need models. Sometimes you just need a model. And so if everyone's digitizing and we don't want to take impression anymore, how do you get a model? It's a 3D printer.
You print that mother.
Yeah, exactly. That mother FR model.
Huh. So they're printing, what else?
The main things that are printed in dentistry, and this is by the companies because every digital dentistry company is a data company now. It's crazy. Like, they all know what we scan, what the indications are, where we're sending it. They know everything.
Yeah.
It's wild. I'd love to get that data, but most printing companies tell me when I ask them is that pretty much 90% of what's printed is models. So all this like flexing restorations and full arch restorations is cool, but we're still just having the social media effect where, it's a very skewed vision of the industry through social media.
Yeah.
So mostly it's models, then splints is quite common. And then surgical guides printing is cool. And then restorations, it's there, but it's not there. And the reality is it's very few people around the world doing it, and just for better or worse, making a lot of noise about it. But we'll see if it takes off.
I don't think so, but okay. But you know what? We'll learn it from you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
for sure.
The crazy
the reality of it and the truth of it, whether it works or not. Honestly, I'm not being funny. I'm being honest. I think that if it does come to that, then your fans and everybody that's listening to you will be able to understand it, yay or nay.
Again, like with an amazing statement there, Bob. You're right. I'm actually currently writing like a little blog, funny enough, about 3D printing versus milling and the shortcomings
There
of
you
3D
go.
printing, because I think right now it's almost like the big hype that happened with scanners ages ago, where a lot of people are like, yes, this is going to completely replace milling, blah, blah, blah. It's amazing. Best thing since sliced bread. But the reality is not
Bullshit.
really. Yeah, a lot of it's just, I don't think a printed restoration will replace zirconia or lithium
No
disilicate. It's
way.
just not going to happen. I had a really interesting talk with the CEO of Accurita a few days ago on my podcast, which I need to get you guys on soon. And he told me that, and these guys know their stuff. They're all engineers and chemists and stuff. He told me, as it stands, the theoretical limit of a printed resin is around 250 megapascals. So you're never going to get to.
Very small.
Yeah, I mean, look, printed restorations, they're cool. I think they're great for temps, like
Temporaries.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
All on X temp. Also, they're pretty cool for indirect composites. Like if you're not doing a big MODBL or gigantic composite, you would print a restoration. But this idea that it's replacing milling is ridiculous.
Never. I mean, there's no way in hell. I mean, how are you going to make it strong? How are you going to center it? How are you going to do anything being printed? But that's just me.
And saying that, one interesting thing that I've learned watching this industry is never rule anything out, Bob. I totally agree with you at this stage.
Right, of course.
Like I say, look, who knows what technology will do, because at the same time, the days of PFM, everyone used to mock and laugh at ceramics, and now everything's ceramic.
Exactly.
We are one resin away from all of this changing.
Exactly,
It's
Elvis.
insane.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah, one resin, one really good resin, or like zirconia printing is a thing. It's not really mainstream because it's a really garbage process, and it doesn't really produce nice results. But we saw the industry completely change in 5 years. Like 10 years, we're now talking about AI and printing. That just wasn't a thing technicians talked about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you got to think in another 10 years, only God knows how far this will go.
Going to Chicago or a meeting like that 5 years ago, nobody was talking about even mills, and now people are talking about mills again, so
Exactly. It's all changing. It's an exciting time, and I have to say, like, the whole dental industry, whether you're a dentist or a tech or a specialist or whatever you are, I just think it's a really cool industry to be in. I love this stuff, and it's just interesting, like how fast it changes. I love the guys doing office jobs and everything. I have a lot of friends doing that, but when you compare that to what we do as a job, like, it's pretty cool. We're playing with tech and printing and milling, and it's exciting and it's changing, and AI. It's a really cool industry to be in.
Yeah. Most people have no idea how cool we are.
Yeah, we just get called crazy, like from people like Bob.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you.
You've mentioned it twice, the podcast, because you didn't have enough to do. Why'd you start a podcast? What drove you to that? I mean, you have enough content out there.
Yeah, I don't know if you realize I love talking to people. I do enjoy it, just like talking to you guys.
Absolutely.
But I think I just felt like, because I'm so well connected, and that sounds extremely arrogant, but bear with me. Through iDD,
It really doesn't. Honestly, let me just preface that with saying I don't think that sounds arrogant. I think that sounds very flattering.
I
That you've
appreciate
made
it.
such an impact on so many people's lives.
I appreciate it.
that when you speak, they listen. So I think that's a compliment.
I
So
really appreciate it.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to.
I think that's my New Zealand side showing. We're pretty timid, like, please don't look at me. But no, like, especially through companies. I'm quite well connected because I've been dealing with these scanner and 3D printing and milling companies for a long time, especially the scanner companies. They all know of iDD, and I talk to pretty much all of them because they want reviews and they want to know other things and feedback about their products. And so I was just like, look, it's a really cool opportunity to podcast the CEOs of these companies, not for business tips, just to insights, because I think there's a ton of podcasts that are amazing, like yours, between colleagues and peers. But I also think, like, it would be cool to get into the minds of people like who runs 3Shape, who runs Straumann, who runs all these printer companies, because although they don't have the clinical and maybe as much dental prowess as we do, they have kind of the business, and they're looking at the industry as closely as we are because they want to win.
Yeah, so I didn't realize the whole podcast, the idea is talking to CEOs.
I'll eventually run out of CEOs, right?
Sure, yeah.
Well, that's what we thought, but it's not true. You won't.
Yeah.
I've so far, and I'm just getting through editing. I mean, this is why it's a bit slow to come out, because I'm always biting more than I can chew. But so far, I've interviewed Rune Fisker, so he's like a top dog in 3Shape.
We had him on, great guy. Yeah,
he's amazing. He's a great speaker as well.
Yep.
I'm going to interview the Formlabs guys. I interviewed the Accurator guys. I interviewed Amir from Sprint Ray. He had some really cool insights. Obviously, completely different insights to some other people because he's spearheading this chairside printed crown thing. I interviewed a bunch of Korean companies that are doing crazy stuff in AI.
Awesome.
The SmileFi guy. Yeah, like it's just, there's a lot of brains out there, and it's just good to pick their brains about how they've seen dentistry change, what they think the future is going to be, what are the trends, etc.
That's awesome.
Pretty impressive.
Well, sir, that's all amazing stuff. I mean, absolutely. It's just instituteofdigitaldentistry.com, right?
Yep, that's all it is.
It's so easy. I can't recommend the exocad course enough. We started this whole thing with, that's how I kind of found out about you. And I've not really dived into any of the other ones, any of the other courses. I do see you do have some on implant dentistry, and that's a big passion of mine I'd like to check out. But anyone looking to learn exocad from the beginning, iDD and Marjorie, those two will take you to what you need to know. It's good stuff.
Awesome. And you know what? Elvis told me like at least 5 times how amazing that course was. Honestly, I'm not plugging the course.
Excited, honestly.
Sincerely, he was so impressed.
I really appreciate it,
cool.
guys. Genuinely.
Yeah.
I figured, look, I also love just getting feedback about it. Like, if you guys thought this is garbage, I need to know so I can make it better. But I'm glad. I'm super glad that you guys enjoyed it. I mean, that's the whole purpose of all of this, because, look, like any business, making a bit of money on the side is great. I mean, iDD was never my main money spinner. You know, when you got 39 chairs running, you don't really you don't really need it from iDD. Like, it needs to at least break even all the staff and everything. But genuinely, the number one priority before making any money or anything was just good education, providing people just to teach, give people good objective information so that they can digitize and master it, and just, you know, reap all the fruits of their labor, because digital is just amazing.
Well said.
Okay, one last, totally not loaded question.
Oh, God, here we go.
Best scanner to buy. Go.
I always get this and totally not scripted answer, because I get this all the time. I have literally every scanner in the world in my practice, and I feel sorry for the company shipping them to New Zealand. They're probably like, who the hell is this guy? So, in short, if you really want to do chairside dentistry and you've got the coin or money, you basically get CEREC. Like, you just still, for chairside dentistry, nothing about the scanner is that incredible. It's a good scanner, but it's the whole workflow that's amazing. Kind of like what Sprint Ray is beating on about workflow. So chairside dentistry, if you look at my Instagram, I'm using CEREC a lot because I do a lot of same-day crowns. Otherwise, look, it really depends where you are in the world, because as you travel around the world, you kind of realize, and I don't mean this in any racist manner, people in developing countries don't have the disposable income as dentists in USA and America, and so America, USA is the same. There you go. Australia, New Zealand, Europe, they just don't. And so that's where you're getting a lot of the Chinese scanners come into play, because these days some Chinese scanners are like under 8,000 US.
Yeah.
It's wild. So anyone in a, let's say, developed nation, if that's the PC term, that has money would probably not go for something like that, because you do give up a little bit in software. Like, the software is not as slick. You know, most people either go for a 3Shape, which is a crazy good scanner. A Medit is good if you're on a budget. even something like ARL Scan 3. Just know the more you pay, typically you get better software, better workflows, better integrations. But these days, they all kind of scan. Now, I'm going to give you a question because you see it from the lab side, and I'd love to know what you think. Assuming that it's the same doctor doing the scans, because some doctors are just a little bit average at it.
Yeah.
Do you see any difference in sharpness or clarity? What is your favorite scanner to get scans from that you think that looks really good?
I think for...
You want me to answer or are you answering?
Oh,
Both of you.
Both.
Go ahead.
But I really love the Trios when it comes in.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of chairside help, and that prime scan's pretty nice.
I would have to agree, man. Trios rocks.
I do a lot of Smile Design cases, and I used to hate the printed dies and the printed models and everything, but yeah, the Trios for sure. It's the most accurate, and doctors are seating just 10-unit cases, 2-unit cases very accurately, contacts. As long as they know how to scan and they've been trained accurately, they're seating these things in 5, 7, 8, 9 minutes.
Yeah,
And
sure.
and time is money, so I love it.
I think, and you once again, another banger from Bob. She hit the nail on the head. I think more
I like
important,
banging.
I think more importantly, rather than the scanner, and this is really what I talk about a lot at iDD, it's not really the scanner that's the key. You can literally use any scanner. Look, some are more user-friendly than others,
Yeah.
but honestly, it's just how you scan. Rather than which scanner you're choosing, something that's way more important is packing some damn retraction cord in there.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Because a lot of dentists still don't do that, and I'm just like, guys, you just have to. Like,
Ton of them don't.
It's a no-brainer.
yeah, you just have to. You have to. Like, more important than the scanner, it's just the scanning field, how you're controlling it. Get rid of the blood, the saliva, retract the tissues, use the
You're
right
talking my
scanning
language.
strategy. Yeah, exactly. So, but look, definitely the top 3 in the world, easily, or let's say top 4, CEREC, Trios, Medit, they've been selling like hotcakes. iTero was popular for a good long while, but then,
Yeah.
that's kind of dying down with the whole Invisalign situation.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if you say that to someone in India or Egypt or something, it's out of their budget. So they go for Medit or some of these Chinese scanners, which do the job. They may not be as slick, but in my eyes, as long as globally everyone's getting into digital, it's better for the patients, it's better for the dentist, by all means.
Better for the labs.
Better for the labs, no stone, no any of that BS anymore.
That's awesome. Dr. Ahmad, thank you so much.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure, guys. Honestly, it's kind of like a big honor. I've been following you guys for a long time. A lot of people speak so highly of your podcast. A big congratulations of what you guys have achieved.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think you guys must have been like one of the first dental podcasts before it became a cool thing to do, and everyone in their dog has one. Literally everyone and their dog has one. I'm a bit late to the party, but
Well, let's give a shout out to you. It's early Saturday morning and it's late Friday afternoon for us. So we appreciate your time and you setting out in your busy schedule a time to come on and talk to us. So thank you as well.
my absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to go film 6 videos right now. So
Yeah. And tell your dad we said hello and
I
that
will. I will.
super amazing, please.
For sure. I appreciate it, guys.
And your mom, but your
yeah,
dad.
you can't forget Mom. She raised us.
Don't forget about her. Ever.
Well, I'm sure we'll keep in touch, and again, appreciate the invite, and keep doing what you guys are doing.
we'll see you in
Thank
Chicago.
you. We'll
I hope
see you
so.
soon.
All
I hope
right.
so.
Thanks, man.
Okay, guys.
All
See you
right,
later.
Bye. Have you ever wanted to learn ExoCAD? Do you find learning a new design software overwhelming or just too costly because you have to go to a course that takes a whole weekend? Even if you've never used a design software before, we have the perfect solution for you to begin your ExoCAD journey. Head over to instituteofdigitaldentistry.com and select the Mastering ExoCAD course. Broken down into 3 segments, the amazing Marjorie will take you through fundamentals, then immediate, and then advanced courses, leaving you with the confidence to tackle most cases that come into your lab. I personally am going through all 70 lessons and find it one of the most thorough courses that I can take at my own pace. And for being a listener of the podcast, if you enter the code VOICES, which is VOICES, when checking out, iDD will take an additional 10% off any course they offer. And they offer a ton of content for labs and clinics. Head over to the instituteofdigitaldentistry.com for this episode's show notes for more information.
A big thanks to Dr. Ahmad for coming on our podcast and talking about your amazing journey to becoming a force, and when I say that, I mean it, in the world of digital technology. He really has a passion for using technology to make all of our lives easier and better. So guys, be sure to check out the iDD website at instituteofdigitaldentistry.com to see all of the amazing content, especially to check out the Mastering exocad course that Elvis talks about all the time. And just like you heard on the ad, use your code. It's VOICES. 10% off anything on the course. Thank you again, Dr. Ahmad, for keeping the truth real in the world of digital dentistry. Also, we talked about the exocad course during the interview and how he met the instructor, Marjorie. Be sure to check out next week's episode when we get her side of the story, which is pretty awesome. She's badass too.
Good things happening in New Zealand.
You know it.
All right, everybody. That's all we got for you, and we will talk to you next week.
Merry Christmas!
Not yet.
I know.
Bye.
Bye.
If you want me to DJ, let me know. I've never done it, but
not a bad idea.
Why not?